What is up, everybody? Welcome into episode 43 of the Brahama Bullpen. And before we get into this Week 7 review episode, I just want to say a win's a win, people. A win is a win when it's a win when it's a win. Brahmas win ugly. I should make a t-shirt and just start selling it. Brahmas win ugly. 3/4 of this game, I wanted to just smash my TV and wreck some stuff. Well, actually, it was 3/4 and 80% of the fourth quarter. It wasn't until there was 2 minutes left in the game where good stuff started happening. Our defense was amazing the whole game. Our offense struggled. We swapped the quarterback just to get a spark on offense, and it worked. And we came back and we won the game. And we're gonna break it all down for you here on the Brahma Bullpen. So stick with us. We got highlights. We got player of the week. We got stats. We're going to go through everything. Let's go ahead and get started. We're going to pop up the scores from Week 7. Starting at the top, Panthers, defenders. Panthers pretty much made the defenders look bad. I don't know what DC was doing this past week. They were definitely not practicing. Maybe they were like out sightseeing or something around DC. Who knows? But the Panthers went in there, kicked their butts. Congratulations to the Panthers. The next game down, the Brahmas Roughnecks, when the Brahmas beat the Roughnecks, that locked in the Panthers to making the playoffs this year. So the USFL playoffs are set. The number 1 seed is obviously going to be the Stallions. The number 2 seed is going to be the Panthers. Congratulations, Panthers. Welcome to the playoffs. That's where the rest of us are trying to get. Brahmas Roughnecks, 15-12. Crazy game, ugly game. We'll cover it here in a little bit. Renegades, 47-23 over Showboats. Renegades offense looked amazing. The defense did just enough to stop them. We got to play the Renegades next week. Come back to episode 44. Drop in later on this week where we'll preview that game. I'm not confident in that game. Before Saturday's game where the Renegades went and dominated the Showboats, I was pretty confident that the Brahmas were going to be able to beat Houston and beat Arlington. And our last 2 games of the season were going to be the only 2 games where I was going to have to worry and stress. But we saw that Renegades look good, Brahmas not so much. Let the stress begins. But anyways, then we got the Battlehawks, the Stallion, Battle of the Titans. This was the game everybody thought it was going to be. It was a great game. Battlehawks had a chance to win right at the end. Just couldn't get that 4th down conversion. What a game. We're not going to break down the Battlehawks Stallion games because this is the Brahma Bullpen, so we're going to spend our time talking about the Brahmas. But with all that being said, here are the updated standings as we talked about. Here are the wins. St. Louis 5-2, Brahmas 5-2. St. Louis has a tiebreaker because they beat us earlier in the season. DC 3-4. They're slipping. One thing to note is the first tiebreaker is overall winning percentage. So the first thing that decides whether you make the playoffs is your conference record. We're going to break down the Brahmas and DC's conference record later on and show how those things correlate. But with the Brahmas getting another win and the DC taking that L, it helps us with the tiebreaker of overall winning percentage. And that's good for us. So thank you, Michigan. Anyways, then Arlington got the first win of the season. Jumping down the USFL, Stallions are locked in. Panthers are locked in. Showboats are Roughnecks. Hey, you're playing for pride now, right? Hope you have pride. Anyways, XFL versus USFL. After 7 weeks, we still don't know jack squat. You can say that the USFL is better because Birmingham just beat the best team in the XFL. You can look at records. You can look at whatever you want. Brahmas are 3-0 against the USFL. Maybe the Brahmas are better than the whole USFL other than the Stallions. Who knows? All I know is 7 weeks in, look at the records. 7-7 both ways. 7 times the USFL has beaten the XFL and 7 times the XFL has beaten the USFL. Do I dare say parity? I don't know. But we're going to find out eventually. Someone's going to win the championship. With that, let's get into our Brahmas game. And we're going to just throw a couple little highlight video. We're not going to do any highlights from the first 3 quarters. When this highlight video starts, I want you to look at the time on the clock. It's like 2 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. And it's really all that matters, right? So let's play the highlight video.
First down and goal, and Lovett is in for a touchdown.
First touchdown of the day for the Brahmas.
For the backup quarterback, Kevin Hogan going for 3 to Cody Latimer.
Look at the score, 12-12. 2 minutes to go.
Now we're back in this game.
You love that three-point conversion.
Yes, sir, we do.
Guys,
Drama from the Brahmas.
We kick the ball off.
Tied at 12, Reggie
And then special
Roberson
teams,
streaks
special
out
players.
past the 30, spins down at the 40, lost the football. The Brahmas have it.
They looked at it. They looked at that one. They kept the call on.
And so the Brahmas are now tied. Defense has been on the field.
We are just
for
milking the
most of
clock
this
here. We are
fourth
running the
quarter.
ball.
It's John Lovett on the ground, setting up
Milking
third
the
down
clock,
and 4
running
for
the
the
ball.
Brahmas. John Lovett up the middle, and he's got a first down. Frustrated to be benched. Lovett tries the left side.
You heard
and
them.
nowhere
They were
to go,
talking
and to be
about right
honest,
there
there's
how
20 seconds
Dormady
to
was
go.
frustrated for being
Right
benched.
now,
This is Hogan doing all this. This is not
and
Dormady.
Lovett's got nothing. It's a loss from 51 for the win for Santoso. On its way and good.
Look, folks, the last 2 minutes was wild if you're a Brahma fan. Everything else before that was horrible if you were a Brahma or a Roughneck fan for that matter. We start the game off. First drive, get down in our own red zone, like on the 2-yard line, fumble. Stop the Roughnecks. Second drive, you get down to like the 10 or 15-yard line, fumble. So last, Dormady's been throwing interceptions. Now we're just fumbling the ball. Then later on in the third quarter, Dormady fumbled the ball. I mean, just 3 turnovers, man. It was crazy. It was like the Brahmas went into the game saying we're going to throw the ball no matter what the defense does because we only passed for 79 yards last week. This week we're going to pass for 500. It wasn't until the end of the fourth quarter after a QB switch that they started actually to run the ball. Look, you got to have some semblance of balance. You can't go in there with the preset notion of what you're going to do. And I don't even know if that's what they did. There was talks in the game where Dormady was on the sideline being recorded on TV saying, there was 8 in the box, there were 7 in the box, and then there's other offensive players going, hey, there was only 6 in the box. Why are we running it? There was only 7 in the box. Why are we running it? It was like they were even having confusion on the checks. Maybe Dormady was a little rattled, gun-shy. Maybe he was seeing phantom defenders in the box and always checking to a pass play. Maybe every play we go in, we have a pass and a run, and we're just playing the numbers and picking one, but someone forgot how to count, and we were just passing. That's what it felt like. When we get into stats, we'll actually show it was a pretty balanced football game. It's just a lot of stuff wasn't working, Santos was 2 for 2. Santoso was 2 for 2 in field goals, and so he made player of the game because he kicked a 51-yarder to win. The rest of our offense didn't do jack squat. We could have went with Devontae Beckett for defensive player of the game. He had a sack and a half, tackle for a loss, making hits all over the field, and was the heart and soul of the game. But how often do we get to pick a kicker for player of the game? I promise you, we got 3 more weeks of the regular season. We're going to get a defensive player be player of the game. It's going to happen. But this week, pressure kick, 51-yard, game on the line. Let's give it to the kicker. Let's give it to that special teams group, right? So long snapper, kicker, holder, all you guys, thank you for not choking. I was feeling the pressure, and I wasn't even in the game. Why was there pressure? Well, let's go ahead and pull up these graphics right here that we've been kind of using to walk us through the season. So we see week 7, DC just took an L. Brahma's got the dub. Overall, DC's 3-4. They're 2-2 in conference. Brahmas are 5-2, and we're 2-2 in conference. The only 2 games we've lost have both been in conference. One to DC, one to St. Louis. If we would have won last week, and maybe passed for, 100 yards and found a way to win that game last week, we'd be locked into the playoffs. But instead, here we are. 3 games to go. It can be San Antonio or DC, and it's going to come down to St. Louis and Arlington games. I truly do feel, I truly 100% feel that both DC and San Antonio are going to lose to St. Louis. And I feel we're both going to beat Arlington. Or I used to feel that way until I saw Arlington wake up and all of a sudden they're going to start messing with people's seasons. who knows what's going to happen in these last 3 games, but all I know is it's coming down to the wire, and someone's going to have to win and someone's going to have to lose. Now, how bad was the game? It felt really bad, but let's look at some stats, right? Let's look at some stats to really talk about how bad or how good this Houston Roughnecks game was. First of all, 1-6 coming in the week, 1-5 Houston Roughnecks. Brahmas coming to week 4-2. End of the week 5-2, 15-12 win. Total touchdowns, we have 1 to their 0. That's what the Roughnecks have been struggling with all year, scoring the ball. They're just not getting very many touchdowns, right? I think last week one of the things my boy Ace over there said was the kicker for the DC team, actually, I think it was DC, but one of the kickers for the other team actually wound up scoring more points than the whole Houston Roughnecks team that week. And this week, their kickers went 4 for 4 field goals. We went 2 for 2. That 1 touchdown is what really sets apart. And the 3-point conversion after the touchdown. Come on, let's get it. Completion percentage? Look at this junk. 48% completion percentage for the Brahmas, 65% for the Roughnecks. 48% completion percentage? That's like Jordan Ta'amu numbers. But anyways, passing yards 168 to 103. I mean, take the under. If you do prop bets, whoever's going to be the quarterback for the Brahmas for the rest of the season, just take the under in the passing yards, and I think you're going to be fine. We're trying to be a pass team, but just run the ball, man. I mean, take what the defense gives you, I think is the right answer. But we had 73 yards rushing, which wasn't that great. 2.7 yards per rush. So our passing game was struggling and our running game was struggling. Houston rushed for more than we did. They had 82 rushing yards, 3.6 yards per carry. Better stats than ours. Look at the third down conversions. Houston went 5 for 13. We went 3 of 12. Better than us. You get down to the red zone. Houston only got in the red zone twice, 0 for 2. We got in the red zone 4 times. 2 times we fumbled it. We went 1 of 4. Penalties, 3 for 25, 9 for 41. If you just look at the stats, other than the TD stats, Houston actually did better than us. We got more stats. 3 turnovers to their 1 turnover. That's better than us. We scored 3 points off of turnovers. They scored 6 off turnovers. That's better than us. Now we look at defense. We got 6 sacks to their 2. We got 8 tackles for loss to their 6. Everybody knows that our defense is what's keeping us in these ball games. Time of possession completely even. 4 times we got first downs. I don't want to say given to us, but they weren't earned first downs. 4 times Houston committed a penalty, which gave us a first down, and we only did it 1 time for them. So even then, Houston was helping us out. And then if you watch the game and you're like, oh, man, it feels like we just don't want to run it. All we want to do is pass it. Well, look at the stats. We had 31 passing plays, 27 rushing plays. Pretty even stats. They had 20 passing plays. They had 23 rushing plays. They were pretty even as well. The Brahmas got the win. You saw the highlight video. Great defense, great special teams, subpar offense. Hogan comes in place of Dormandy. Who knows what's going to happen next week? Is Chase Garbage going to come back? The only thing that I see giving us a chance against St. Louis and against Birmingham is better quarterback play. Our running game is great. Our offensive line is great. Our defense is great. Our special teams is great. The only thing that we're struggling is in the passing game. Our passing game has been struggling. I don't know how else to put that. We'll see what happens next week. Hopefully they can figure out something in practice this week. Who knows what's going to happen. But I'm hoping something good happens next week. We're going to start winding down this episode. Come back for the preview episode with Arlington later on in the week. But before we go, the all-important attendance numbers. Everybody likes to look at these to kind of see. It's like instead of just competing on the football field, it's all the spring football cities and metro areas and fan groups trying to flex on each other on whose fans show for the game and do not show for the game. And I'm all for it. Birmingham, congratulations. You led the league in attendance for 1 week. Way to go, Birmingham. 14,056 tickets. It only took a game of the century to make it happen, but congratulations. You led the league in attendance. Arlington, 8,042. They just continue to dwindle, but they're having a rough season, so you can see why that's happening. DC, respectable as usual. Other than St. Louis, they are the most consistent fan base in attendance there is in the league. Houston, 6,134. Not good. I know that had to be tickets sold because I was trying to count people in the stands and I actually counted 37. So that's how few there were in there. I was actually able to count. With that, we're going to go ahead and wind it down. Before we go, I'm going to pop up this graphic for everybody. If you stumble across this show or you don't like this show or you just watch to make fun of me or whatever, and you're fans of other shows or of other teams, this is a full list of our weekly podcasts we got here on the UFM. The Battle Talk show is one of the newer guys covering St. Louis, so go check them out. We have 2 DC shows. There's so many DC defenders on this thing. I'm always having to fight DC defenders. Oh, I'm a one-man show down here in the cow patch. Well, I got producer, but producer is like not good in a fight. He's just not good in a fight. He gets me into more fights than he helps me out of. So, but me and producer are always fighting off the DC guys. We got every team represented, and then we have some neutral shows, some tell me about it shows, and we got polar opposites where it's just general topics for the league. And we got our website, UnitedFootballMedia.com, where we post articles and stuff. So appreciate you watching. Thanks for joining me down here in the cow pasture on behalf of the United Football Media Group. We're going to end this with a nice horns forward. Come back, episode 43. We're going to preview Arlington. Let's go Brahmas, baby.